This is the metagame status for Co-op Tournament number 1, round number 2. Both players have succeeded in surviving round number 1, and they have also gotten the bonus objectives, so both teams start off with 6 points. So, team number 1 will be playing up against 4 mutators. They will be up against Microtransactions, Mineral Shields, Slim Pickings, and Temporal Field. A very economically punishing mutator set, but they've chosen to do it with Nova and Stukov on Minor Evacuation. Team number 2 will be up against 3 mutators, and they will be doing it with Fatal Attraction, Purifier Beam, and Self-Destruction. They will be doing this on Void Launch, and the commanders they will be playing are Alrak and Zagara. So let's get into the game. This is Co-op Tournament number 1, round number 2, team number 1. And you can see things have escalated very quickly. We have 4 mutators active. We have Microtransactions, Temporal Field, Slim Pickings, and Mineral Shields. And players that will be dealing with us. Player 1, playing Stukov. We have Ancalagon. And player 2, playing Nova. We have Ziemson. So you can see that these mutators are heavily impacting the economy over here. And already we have a random attack that's coming out for a bunch of infested. I'm not really sure why these things spawned. But this is definitely problematic. We have a bunch of repairs here on the SCVs trying to keep these alive. As long as these SCVs are not within range of these infested will not actually attack these SCVs. Not really sure why this is coming up. I think what probably happened is one of these spawns, one of the mineral pickups spawned on this side, and it caused the infested that are parked on this side. They're usually deep tunneled or burrowed on here. I think what happened is that this pickup spawned over here. They unburrowed, and then because they cannot actually target this, they were given an attack command towards this base, which is very problematic for Stukov. Stukov needs the minerals to deal with, to actually build stuff, and he's a very mineral heavy commander in general if you're not going for a mech build, which is something you don't really want to do on this mission. So just the cost of these repairs, given that there are also mineral shields and stuff, is very problematic for Stukov. Nova is going to be able to solo handle the first ship without too many problems. She might even be able to do the second one, but she will need allied backup over here. You can see that Stukov has already started to build a command center near this expansion here. Just wants to be able to get that extra bit of resources. The Slim Pickings is a problem, but one of the good things that can occur if you were going to be doing this mutation is you do get the mineral pickups along the ground. So Slim Pickings and Microtransactions kind of complement each other and make exponentially make the mission more difficult, because not only do you have to micro an SCV to go ahead and pick up these things, and you can see they're costing you minerals as a result of that, but the other thing is, like, your micro actually costs you resources. So the one way you can deal with this with a mutator set like this is to put your units on patrol. So have a unit in a particular position, and then the patrol key, I think, is P. You just basically press P and then you click somewhere else, and they'll just keep pathing back and forth between 2 locations. And you can do this, and it actually helps a lot in reducing your mineral costs and your resource costs through just micro. So that is something you can do. It does take a little bit of setup. It is very annoying to do so, but we'll see if the SCVs are actually on patrol right now.
The hive cluster is under attack.
I don't know if they are, but that is something you can do, and it does help a lot. So you can actually do multiple. Yeah. So these SCVs now are on patrol, and they're moving in a circular pattern. So if you do that, it can actually make your life significantly easier and reduce the cost of resources that you're spending. Because the temporal field, not very impactful. It was just there, as I'm assuming, as a mutator that was just, we got to spend the extra point there because there's no reason to not spend points every round. And but yeah, all the other ones, Microtransactions, Slim Pickings, and Mineral Shields, are heavily impacting the economy. On a mission like this, where you can have hero commanders that do really well, so Nova does really well defending the first ship, will give you a little bit of early game sustain, and it will allow you to carry yourself through the mid game, where you at some point you will need to have some kind of army. You can see over here, Nova doesn't really have much impact. And the other thing I realized is I forgot to take a look at the masteries. Let's just have a quick look here. We have a little bit on the infest structure cooldown, apocalypse cooldown, and then we have the infantry duration, which is pretty much standard choices for these commanders. And then for Nova, we have the airstrike cooldown, the primary ability damage, and the Nova energy regeneration. So we can see here, Nova hasn't even taken points off the HP regeneration and put them purely into the primary, into the Nova energy. So this is going to be a very hero-centric build. Nova will be relied on a lot to be able to clean up the infested in this mission. So overall, the first ship has been handled with no problems there. The command center has been routed over here, but there are a bunch of infested units that are going to be targeting the sling down. So let's see what the plan is on this side. I don't know if Stukov has realized that command center has not been cleared up yet. There is a trickle of infested. Okay, there we go. Noah does tactical airlift into this expansion to help clean up the site. And there's an infest structure as well on here. Start cleaning up the rest of these units here. There is an attacker that's making its way towards this evacuation ship, so the commanders will have to hurry before the evacuation ship goes down. You really do not want to lose one of the early evacuation ships. These ones are the easier ones to defend. If you start losing those ones, then you have to try and deal with either the siege tank evacuation ship or the Baneling evacuation ship, which is both not really very fun to deal with. So you kind of want to have the early sieges there. There is again a lot of SCVs that are being put on mining duty on this side, and to be honest, I'm not really sure what to think about that. I generally, when I'm playing against slim pickings, I do not build SCVs to mine. I put them on patrol, and I try and rely on the mineral pickups that are on the ground. So these things over here. I find that to be a little bit better use of resources than investing 400 into a command center and relying on SCVs mining very minimal amounts of resources. Now, if I am playing a commander that is gas heavy, so Stukov is an example, but it won't be on this mission. Someone like Nova, for example, what I would do is I would just build the automated refineries here. And even though I'm getting one gas, Nova actually benefits a lot from it. So Blightbringer has spawned, and it looks like the commanders want to go ahead and deal with this guy, because again, there is a bonus point on the line if they are able to get the bonus objective on this mission. Both bonus objectives have to be cleared, so Blightbringer is the easier one of the two, but they also have to get the Eradicators. Both the Eradicators have to be cleared if these players want to get that extra bonus point for the next round. So it looks like they are actually interested in doing that. There's a bunch of snipes coming down from Nova to deal some damage to Blightbringer. More snipes on this side as well. And yeah, there we go. The Bloodbringer is being attacked over here, and Stukov has a bunch of bunkers now put into position to help protect this evacuation ship once it starts to launch. And it is probably in both players' interest to try and delay this ship as much as possible. You can wait for the countdown to start automatically. I prefer to launch the evacuation ship when there's 5 seconds left on the timer. So this will be at the 12-minute mark, which is when this evacuation ship will start its panic launch sequence. Talking is hard. 12 minutes before the panic launch sequence, I normally put my army onto this beacon at around 11 minutes and 50 seconds, 5 seconds for the launch, and you can give it like extra 5 seconds just for positioning the army in case something goes wrong. And it does make the evacuation ships launch in 2 minutes rather than 3, which is there. But it looks like the commanders are not going to do that. They want to just delay this ship as much as possible. The reason why I like to launch the sling a little bit early is because there's an attack wave that comes up in the base, and it can sometimes stretch your army out a little bit too thin. And sometimes what can also happen is there'll be an attack wave that'll be coming up towards the ship. It just messes with the timing a little bit if this thing takes 3 minutes to launch instead of 2. We have now the Eradicators have spawned, and it looks like Stukov wants to deal with that. He changed his mind. Stukov decides, you know what, I'm going to get my army back here now, and I want to start defending the evacuation ship, which is a good plan. But again, there's an extra point on the line, and commanders will have to try and deal with both those Eradicators if they want to get that bonus point. So we have the Pretty much everything is off cooldown. The Apocalypse is off cooldown, the Alexander is off cooldown, and then the Griffith Airstrike and the Nuke is as well available for the commanders to use. So that's going to be very beneficial for our players over here. There's an attack wave that's come up, and Nova's decided to go in solo and just deal with this. Fortunately, this is a Shadow Tech attack wave. The Liberators all siege up over here and start to deal with the SCVs. SCVs get pulled away. 2 SCVs do get picked off there, but that was a quick reaction there. And there's an Apocalypse that ends up cleaning up the Liberators with its anti-air ability. So far so good. The Banshees though have not unborrowed here, and there is no detection on this side, so Nova will probably have to airstrike to clean up the Banshees that have just unborrowed from this location over here. Lots of Banshees dealing damage to one of those bunkers. They focus down one of these bunkers. One bunker goes down already. And are they going to end up taking out another bunker on this side? Nope, there's an airstrike here. An emergency infrastructure just to keep the bunker alive. Both these bunkers alive. Those Banshees are down now, and that is pretty much handled. Nova is going to be dealing with the both these Evacuators one by one. This one is the one that actually nukes your face, so you have to be really careful with that one. So ideally what you'd want to do is you want to try and take out that one first if you're dealing with the ground composition, because as soon as this Eradicator goes down, this thing will start to spaz out and increase its rate of fire, which makes it even more tricky to deal with. So you'll see over here how quickly it starts to spawn all its abilities there. Nova instantly pretty much gets one shot by, or almost gets one shot by that spam. You can see over here. This is exactly why I was talking about this. It just starts to spaz out, and if you're in the range of that, you're just gonna get one shot. But Nova ends up cleaning up that Eradicator. Both the Eragators are down. Blightbreaker is down, which means these players have gotten the extra point for the next round. And now this next evacuation ship wants to launch, and there is an attack wave, but Nova is in position, or might be in position. She needs to use an airstrike if she wants to go ahead and intercept that attack wave. But she switched over to the assault mode there, and tries to blink in to try and just chase that before the attack wave gets into position. But Stukov's bunkers are in here, and they are unrooted right now. One bunker does get focus fired down and ends up getting lost to Amon's army, but that might have been a worth it expenditure, given that this evacuation ship is safe and they will need as much HP on these evacuation ships as possible. Lots of resources being floated on Stukov's side at the moment, and Stukov's Scimeter is in the wrong position, but I think there will be a lot more production coming up from Stukov. But yeah, he's building up 4 bunkers now just to use up these resources, which is a good play. I would like to see a few siege tanks actually added to the mix here. Siege tanks do a really good job in defending on this mission. You need maybe about 2 or 3 behind your bunker line, which Stukov can definitely afford. And it just helps Stukov just fortify that positioning a little bit. Bunker upgrades, we have the regenerative plating. There's the calcified armor upgrade, which needs to be, which increases the amount of damage the bunkers can absorb by increasing their armor. And armor is very useful on this mission because all these infested units, they don't really have high attack. They all there's just many of them that deal low amounts of damage. So having an armor upgrade compounds a lot and keeps these units alive very well. There are 4 medevacs coming up, and they will be landing the Amon's army on this. Okay, there we go. So there's the unload over there. Lots of marauders are trying to focus down one of those bunkers, and those bunkers are being kept alive. Well, there is also an infrastructure that comes up here. Nova is also helping out and ends up cleaning up the attack forces that have landed on these players' expansions. Over here, a lot of the bunkers have been picked off by the aberrations. The aberrations do a lot of damage. Nova is nowhere in position. That last bunker also goes down. There's 1 more left. I don't know if... okay, that bunker is going to survive now because Nova is in position here to deal with this attack wave here. Lots of infested Reapers as well. I think they're called Hammer Securities or something. But unfortunately, the bunker also goes down through the amount of damage from the Banshee and the aberration over there. So Stukov is not having a very good day. And this is also why I mentioned having a few siege tanks in the mix might help. You can, deep tunnel them across. The Scimeter, again, not in position as well. I think that having that Scimeter in the correct position might have helped a lot into Stukov's bunkers alive. So far, a total of 6 bunkers. One uprooted bunker has been lost as a result of that. 7 bunkers. That kind of stings, especially given a mutation which stifles their economy. Stukov has pretty much been reset here, but Nova is so far so well doing okay. So still a few more bunkers on this side, and now something is harassing. Nothing's harassing. Might have been a random infested unit here, but Nova has blinked in. And she'll be able to clean up the side. Few stacks coming down onto the Infestor and the Banshees. Cleans up all the Banshees now, and now Nova has a bunch of Liberators, which will be able to deal with that side. There is something up over here that is okay. So I think those units just attacked the SCV on that side and ended up cleaning that, killing off the SCV that was building some of these units here, or it might have been the Rag Air or the Cyclone. I'm not really sure what it was, but now the commanders are going to be getting into position. Stukov has uprooted the rest of the bunkers and tried to put them here. They have to try and reinforce this position. Nova cannot solo defend this ship, given the large number of hybrids that will be spawning on as a trickle on this side. And yeah, unfortunately Nova does not have access to the resources to give her some siege tanks, which will also be really useful. So Stukov will have to assist over here. And yeah, okay, so Stukov has put down the stack reactor. I don't know if he wants to get some siege tanks into the mix here. I think it will help a lot. So the evacuation ship has started to launch. They have manually launched this evacuation ship, which means they are confident that they'll be able to hold here. Lots of snipes coming down from Nova to take up these high HP targets, the aberrations and stuff. These aberrations are problematic, so the Liberators will have to try and focus fire them down. And Nova switches over to assault mode, instantly uses the shotgun to one-shot. A lot of the infested units are trickling this way. And there is unfortunately a temporal field that comes down to these bunkers and I'm some of these bunkers, but the bunkers are a little bit out of range over here. Apocalypse now comes down to try and just provide the extra bit of tanking to the front line, because you do not want that front line to get picked off by the units that are coming up here. Banshee's wailing on this Marine unit. Marine's gonna get picked off, and another bunch of Banshees over here now that are also getting picked off. Nova has to switch over to stealth mode again to just snipe out these Banshees. Banshees get sniped. Apocalypse on this side. It is slowed down by the temporal field. It's not a permanent stun, which is very useful because this Apocalypse can actually just soak up a lot of damage, as you can see over here. And the goal here is just soaking up this damage, just dealing a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, there is was that? Okay, that was a Nova nuke. I thought that was a ghost that nuked Stukov's base here. Stukov not having a very good time on his mutation. He just lost his entire expansion to that. But that evacuation ship has been saved and has been launched, and now we have Nova moving towards the next evacuation ship here.
Forces are under attack.
Nova's going to start working away to cleaning up this side. Stukov has 4 bunkers, and now those are the siege tanks that was doing. Those siege tanks are going to be so useful, so helpful for providing a bit of splash damage in dealing with the infested, because it is very, very difficult to just deal with. It's very difficult to deal with guarding these evacuation ships if you only have single target damage. So the Liberators, for example, really good for dealing with the hybrids and aberrations. Not very useful when you have a large number of low HP units. You know, the Liberators overkill every single infested Terran or infested Marine that, or volatile infested that walk around. So you kind of want to have these Liberators for dealing with the hybrids and the aberrations more than you want to have them dealing with just a single target damage. So having a bit of splash is very important in this mission. So we can see that Stukov has moved his bunkers over here, deep tunneled his siege tanks across, and I think these siege tanks are going to be more than enough. He has more than enough siege tanks. 5 siege tanks is a very healthy number to have when you want to try and defend this side. That is basically overkill, but I think he's just going to be flexing on Amon now, exacting his revenge after his base has gotten wiped here by Amon's army. Also notice the play that was done over here. Stukov has lost his SCVs to the Liberators, to the attack wave. But the thing that Stukov has not done, which is something that a lot of people might make a mistake in doing, is rebuild their SCVs. You're spending 50 minerals to build an SCV, and the SCV is going to mine 1 mineral at a time, which means it needs 50 pickups, 50 minings of a mineral patch to be able to pay its cost, which you're never gonna get back at this late stage of the game. So it's also, so what he's done here is he's like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna get my money back, and I'm not gonna be able to make SCVs and mine from that base. So I might as well use that command center and uproot it and infest it, and just to provide a little bit more tanking and a little bit more DPS from my infest structure for the front line, which is, you know, something you should be doing. You're always trying to figure out how you can utilize your resources to maximum efficiency. He's done the same thing as well here by just moving another command center in position. And again, it's just to provide a little bit of tanking. You do not want to lose your units that actually deal damage. So, you know, it just comes down to how, you know, it's efficient play basically. So we see that there's an attack wave here that has completely wiped out this expansion, but the commanders don't care. This is the last evacuation ship that is in position. So there we go. That evacuation ship has been saved. Very, very clutch, but very, very good choices on the players' parts here. And that is GG.